Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's meeting, the Contour Community Meeting. Today is April 14th, 2020, and this is the Americas time zone meeting, even though we have people from Australia joining us today, which is fantastic. So thank you so much. Yeah, we've got a few updates that we want to go through today. So I'm going to share my screen so you all can see the agenda. There we go. So, Steve, you're on.
There we go. I found the mute button. Cool. So I was just So a couple of things I did kind of in parallel was the sorry, too much coffee today. We Contour uses the Envoy Go control plane, and it uses that to go get all the protobuf types and stuff. So when we go to talk to Envoy and we pass down and set up that XDS connection, we use all the types that exist. So that control plane gets upgraded from time to time, and it kind of falls in step with the Envoy versions. At times, that control plane can cause changes and breaks into Contour's code base in the sense that, hey, this thing was an object, now it's a pointer, and that sort of thing. So this is just helping us keep kind of lock in step with that Envoy, those types and stuff. The additional thing is that they're starting to add in the v3 XDS API. So at this point, since Envoy 1.14.1 got released, they've frozen the v2 XDS API, which is what Contour uses today. So no features are going to go into there. All the work's going to go into the v3. But the Envoy team promised that they would keep compatibility for v2 and v3 forward. So I think at some point we should look at moving to v3, assuming everything's in there. I'm not sure if everything is. But anyway, so this is just keeping kind of, maintenance update. And the second one I added was adding the Envoy 1.14.1 got released. I think there was some CI issue that they had ended up pulling 1.14.0, so that 1.14.1 came out. So that's what that one is. So in the next release of Contour, which is 1.4, that should come out and have all that in there. Those two things. I'm not sure what's different in Envoy 1.14 in terms of there's no CVEs or anything. It was just another feature release. So,
All right.
Not super exciting, but yeah.
I can talk about that one, Jim.
Cover the James Beachy's here.
Yep. So I think James did a PR there to go through and put a bunch of better diagnostics in when there are secret errors. So that's mainly in the Contour logs, but there's some stuff. Basically, now in the Contour logs, when there is a problem with a secret, you'll actually get a little bit more information about which secret was affected and what the exact problem was. Previously, the error message was basically, hey, there was a problem with the secret. Now you'll actually get a problem that's a message that tells you various different things about the secret.
And this was great, by the way. There were quite a few folks that were waiting for that, so thank you all for adding that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that should help a little bit with some of the problems that people have been saying about certificate validation and stuff like that as well. The next one is mine. This one, we changed in Contour 1.3, we changed the ingress-class behavior. And we've had a few customer queries about this one previously, quite a few. And so this one is just updating the docs to actually match what the new behavior is. The new behavior is that the important part is if you set an ingress class to Contour, so if you direct Contour, please listen to this ingress class, it will now listen to only that ingress class. Previously, it would listen to the ingress class that you specified and anything without an ingress class, which meant that if you were running two contours in the same cluster, then both of them would listen to anything without an ingress class, which people found confusing. Fair enough. So I specified exactly what happens in each case. If you don't specify an ingress class, the backwards compatible thing we needed to support is that if you don't specify an ingress class to Contour, the program, you can still specify an ingress class of Contour on ingresses and have Contour pick it up by default if you don't configure anything. That again, backwards compatibility there. So that's why it was a little bit complicated to explain. Yeah, so that was the point of that, is just to make sure that the documentation is correct. But this should close out. This closed out a few outstanding issues that we had for people that were trying to run multiple contours in one cluster.
Awesome. Any questions, comments there for Nick? All right, Tero, you got a few things you've been working on. You want to talk about these?
Yeah, so now we finalized the external client certificate authentication. The first PR in the list of PRs there is the one that was pending last. These other ones like this documentation one was concluded earlier, but the last one was pending because of the SNI name binding work that James was doing, or the rework that James was doing, and after that was finalized, we finalized the API parts, which are now merged today. So the whole feature is now usable. So
awesome.
Yeah. It is now possible then for external clients to use client certificates, and Envoy will check that, validate that according to a CA or a bundle of CAs if needed. That's basically it for that. And then there is another one that has been also ongoing for quite a while. We previously concluded the support for rotating certificates at the contour end for this XDS gRPC connection, and now I've got the change also merged in Envoy, that Envoy also can rotate its own in this case client certificate that it uses when connecting to Contour. But there is still one change, which is now this work in process PR. In order to take the certificate rotation support in Envoy into use, there is a need to change the Envoy Bootstrap configuration that Contour creates when running the Contour Bootstrap command. And the idea here is that we need a couple of new files in addition to the old Bootstrap file. These new files are presenting the SDS resources, which typically in a normal case when Contour is serving SDS resources to Envoy, they are sent via the gRPC connection. But obviously, because this is now about the gRPC connection, or the certificates that are needed before the gRPC connection is established, so these SDS resources are now written as files in the file system by this Bootstrap command. So if you go back to the text part of this, or the conversation part, there in the second comment this one, here is an example that besides of this config envoy JSON, we also need two other resources, other JSON files that represents the SDS resources as files. And there is still the approach how to change the Contour Bootstrap command line parameters to make it possible to create these new files is not agreed yet, and I'm wishing for some kind of ideas how to do that cleanly, and James has been already helping me here, but it is still under discussion. And after that like command line API change has been agreed, then I can proceed with the implementation.
So this was that spot where we talked about that that directory, Taro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I think the problem here is that the way that Envoy has implemented this thing and needs those 3 files, and we got to have some way to put it there. So I don't think it's it needs to be injected in order. So basically, in order for Envoy to do this, that's why it needs to be injected, and that's why it's not that users need to inject it per se. It's that in order for this to be able to be hot reloaded, we need to inject it. We need the Bootstrap to inject this stuff in the right way, so that once we do that, then we can reference the secrets that we for those things in Kubernetes, and it means that then when you update those secrets, both Envoy and Contour will automatically rotate the secrets in use, so that there's no restarting required.
Sure. I guess the part that confuses me is the directory parameter. So like here we have on the screen, there's the CA cert, the TLS cert, and the key. So why wouldn't we just give it the files that it needs instead of saying, here's this random directory? And then, you know what I mean? It feels like there's too much wiggle room to like cause errors and things be misconfigured that way.
I understand. I think the problem here, though, is that it's not just those 3 files that Envoy needs. Envoy actually needs 2 additional, basically they're like substitute protobuf files that says that lets you fool SDS into using the actual cert files as a source for secret data. And so there's actually 2 extra files that need, aside from the Envoy JSON config. Yeah, that's them there that are just on the screen. They're literally just a little text file that says, this is where you go to get the certificate chain and the private key for the SDS resource. And then once you have that, then Envoy can use SDS to handle this thing, which enables the hot reload functionality.
Right, but why are those external files? Why doesn't the Bootstrap just write those out?
That is a good question.
You know what I mean? That's my question, I guess. So then if Bootstrap writes that out, then that path can be hard code like it is today. And then you can change the path as it is in this on the config map or wherever the secret.
Yeah. So the question then is for Tero, why do those need to be separate files? Is it possible to just put that in the Bootstrap?
No, the idea here is that Envoy, as it has of course always been able to receive the protobuf files via gRPC. There is also, and I think this has existed from the beginning when XDS was introduced. There has also been support for loading these protobuf JSON representations from the disk. And in the Bootstrap configuration, in the TLS configuration, you can in Envoy you can point into directly to certificate files like the Bootstrap that we use today. But there is an alternative also to point into SDS resource. And in that description of SDS resource, you can either point to an SDS resource in the XDS server or a file in a file system. And this was something that existed already there before when before then I added the hot reload capability in Envoy to reload the referred certificates, but this has the effect that now that we can only point to files with the JSON representation of the SDS, we need these 2 files.
Right. So the short version is, because Envoy, and the slightly longer version is, you can't inline those files into the Bootstrap config. They need to be separate files because this is like connecting to another cluster. And I'm using air quotes there. That just happens to be served out of a file on disk instead of talking back to the main Contour cluster. Is that a better way to? Is that another way to explain it? Sorry, Terry.
Yeah, exactly.
So Steve, does that clear up a little bit why it needs to be separate? Is it's just Envoy needs it like that because of the way that because it's actually a different cluster that we are. I mean, I agree. It would be really nice if we didn't need to output 2 extra files for reasons. But I mean, it seems like they're just Envoy reasons, and this comes under hashtag just Envoy things.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if that's what it is, it's what it is. I just worry that, excuse me, that folks could abuse that somehow. But maybe I need to look at the docs and see how those files are used and stuff a little better, so I understand a little better. My initial reaction was I was worried that people would start abusing the Bootstrap to like turn on different things they wanted to, because folks are always like, hey, I want to go do X, Y, and Z, you know, and they've tried to like abuse the Bootstrap to be able to enable certain things in Envoy.
Yeah. I think that is a completely valid thing to worry about. Yes. So yeah, if you could have a look at that, that would be great. So I think because the Bootstrap is now just saying, when you turn that on though, the Bootstrap is just saying, look in this look here for specific SDS resources. I don't think there's a way that you can, without changing the Go code that does the Bootstrap, that you can actually like have it do anything else aside from SDS, I think. But if you could check that, that would be great.
That is true. You cannot do anything else with this. And I can add into the PR the direct links to the relevant documentation, so you can check it out.
Thanks, Tara. That would be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for all your hard work here, Tero.
No problem. My pleasure.
Really, really great stuff. Thank you. Michael, do you want to give an update?
Yeah, so I'll give a quick update. So as you all know, we have been undergoing donation of Contour to CNCF. Its process going well. SIG network has finished its assessment. Thumbs up there. And the last part right now is a lot of people that use Contour don't want to be disclosed publicly that they're using Contour. That has been the case with a lot of networking products, and things are kind of sitting at the front door of your infrastructure and at the front door of your clusters and your cloud native apps. So what we're doing is Matt Klein, who is our TOC sponsor, we've put him in contact with several of the customers and the users of Contour. And there's a few companies that are basically talking to him in private. So hopefully good things are being told in those discussions. I'm just clearing my throat here. And if all goes well, maybe it's going to be put up for a vote in the next couple of weeks. It all depends on how fast people can get in a meeting with Matt and give their feedback, and Matt is satisfied.
That's great news.
So I saw like 4 or 5 of those emails fly over the weekend. So we've been, ever since it was last Wednesday that Matt asked us that, we've been furiously contacting everybody.
Awesome. The next item on the agenda is issue discussion. We don't have anything there right now though, but are there any issues that you want to discuss on the call today?
Yeah, that's why that slide is there, just in case anyone had an issue they wanted to talk about.
Hi, just one question. It's the one thing that we're sort of waiting on for sort of more internal compliance reasons is the separation of the health and the metrics endpoints. So I know there's a merge PR. I think that looks like it's slated for 1.4.
Yeah.
And just wondering if there's any guidance on when 1.4 is when we think that's going to land.
It's currently scheduled for 2 weeks.
Yeah, end of this month. So okay. Look for it. Maybe might be right at the edge, at the cusp of the month. Okay. So we try to ship monthly now, Michael. So we've come to the cadence where every month, whatever's on the track will ship, no matter what. So we're not gonna. I mean, maybe we'll wait a few days here and there, depending on a critical feature. If something is delayed, or maybe an Envoy release we're waiting for it, or something like that. But for most intents and purposes, every month we'll have a release of Contour.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Any other issues?
All right.
All right. Then that's it for today. thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you so much for the discussion here. I'll post the recording, of course, up on YouTube later today. And with that, see you all on the next community meeting. As you all know, we host them bi-weekly in different time zones. So yeah, just keep a lookout on the projectcontour.io/community page if you have any questions on when that is. With that, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Jonas.
See you
Nick,
later.
get some sleep, Nick.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.